Who is there from the OUSL side? Sanduni?
Yes, sir.
You are there. Okay. Taruka is a participant or host?
Sir, it's me, sir.
That from OUSL side?
Yeah, sir.
Okay. Sanduni, can you see me? Can you see me?
Yes, sir, can see.
Okay. Then I will try to put this. Yes, it's not. Can you see the presentation?
Not yet, sir.
Yes, sir.
Why you can't get this? Why I can't open this? Can you see now?
Now can see, sir.
Ah, okay. All right. Okay, participants are there. Sandhuni or somebody. Is it third intake or second intake? Third year students or participants?
Third
Third batch or second batch?
Third batch, sir.
Huh?
Third batch, sir.
Third batch. Okay. Right. Can you see me?
Yes, sir.
Right. You can see the presentation also.
Yes, sir. Presentation is also visible.
Right. Then I think we can start. The participant can see the presentation?
Yes.
All right. Okay. Then we will start our lecture. I think now this subject we are talking about selection and employment of consultant. I think you will have done one lecture before this thing. That is the basic idea about this selection of consultants. Sometimes you say employment of consultant, selection and employment of consultants. Now you are aware about normal procurement of goods and services, information system, the construction, anything. Now this is another part of procurement business. But we don't say, now sometimes we are taking consultants to get ease our work. Some consultancy assignments, we won't give it to some consultant, individual consultant or the consultancy firm. But in general, individual or a consultancy firm, we call consultants. Correct one is if it's a single person, it's an individual consultant. If it's a firm, it's a consultancy firm. But normally, we use consultants. So that's why it says selection and employment of consultants. We don't say procurement of consultants. Why we don't say? The consultants are not a tangible thing. So we don't say, you can't, it's not tangible. Therefore, you can't say procurement. Procurement is some goods or items or works or service or information system or something like that. But consultants are a little bit different from that part. That is why we don't say procurement of consultants. We say selection of consultants or employment of consultants. Now you know why we don't say procurement of consultants. That idea you have. When we start consultancy, there are a few areas that we are going to discuss. Basics you have already discussed with the previous lecture, I think. Now, this is general policies and principles in the selection and employment of consultants. We are talking today the general policies and principles. Little bit advanced area of selection of consultants. Analysis of conflict of interest situation. You can take this one. Wait a minute. Right. Analysis of conflict of interest situation. Now, in procurement, even in the goods and services also, you get that conflict of interest terminology in procurement. It's a very special and very important area, conflict of interest. Now we can define in a different way. Now, say for example, I'm going to select a consultant to my company to do some consultancy. Very simply says, right? So I am trying to get my friend. I know that friend is really good. So I'm trying to give that, I'm trying to select that consultant or a consultancy firm because I know that consultancy. They are my friends. In that case, it's a conflict of interest. Have you learned something in this lecture series, the conflict of interest? Please give me answers. Have you discussed conflict of interest in any area?
In same one, we have discussed regarding the principles of procurement.
Right, okay. Right. Yeah, okay, I can understand. So that's the same thing. Conflict of interest. Everywhere in procurement, you get this conflict of interest. Actually, in other words, we can say it's a some sort of illegal favoration. Something like that. Some sort of illegal favoration to this procurement process or a selection process. We should not do that because then we are trying to influence improperly. It's not proper, right? So the integrity and the impartiality is not there. Fairness is not there. If you are trying to get your friend into that consultancy or a procurement something. That is why we always say, you go for a competitive bidding and select a best person or a company. So there is no, but in that case also, you'll have to be careful whether you are trying to get your friend's company, right? I mean, it's not mean that your friend's company, they can't participate. They can, but there should be now in this lesson, we are telling how are you going to tackle that situation? If there's any question, you can ask me. Now now, and also I want to tell you all before start this lecture, I have given so many materials in this. I mean, there are nearly about 70 slides. But most of this thing what I have given is to you to go for a further reference. I mean, to find out from the books and the internet may be a little bit difficult, but you can do it, right? You can find out. But I am also trying to give you a little bit more information about this section. So analysis of conflict of interest situations, you can analyze this way. You can explain this way. A conflict of interest occurs when a consultant provides biased professional advice. Biased professional advice. There can be different ways, but biased is not proper. To a client, to obtain an undue benefit for themselves of their affiliates. So they are trying to use this conflict of interest to obtain undue benefit to that company or the person or a affiliate or whatever it is. It is a situation where a party has interest that could improperly influence its responsibilities under the contract. I think now you can understand what I say, right? They are trying to get the undue improper influence from the client. Identifying and managing conflicts of interest is crucial. Yeah, identify of this situation is very crucial, and to ensure crucial to ensure the integrity and impartiality or a fairness of the selection of consultants process and the quality of the consultancy work. Now, most of the normal procurement also it's happened. Now, say for example, there is a bid tender. I would say tender because it's a very common, but these days we are not using that word. We always say bid evaluation committee, something like that. So we are trying to do some evaluation. Maybe then evaluation committee one of the evaluation member is a friend or a relative of that company. So in that case, you get a conflict of interest because that person's evaluation results can be biased towards his friend's company. So what you will have to do is, there is a rule. He has to say a declaration saying any contractors, they don't have any relationship or a friendship or any type of connection, saying that there is no conflict of interest. Actually, all the members of the evaluation committee, they will have to give that declaration saying that I don't have a conflict of interest in this whole process. Right. Now, I would, if you want, I can, if you have any problem, I can give you examples also, but it will take time. But I will give you some examples if you cannot understand this situation. Policies typically require consultants to disclose. That's what I say. They will have to disclose any potential conflict of interest during their appointment or during their work, during the whole process. How the common conflict of interest scenarios are there in this selection of consultants? One is consultants' involvement in project preparation. Now, say for example, your company is, I will take an example, I can tell any name. Say for example, Deloitte, company called Deloitte. It's an international company. Consultancy, or MG consultants, or KMGP consultants. Like that, any consultancy company. There is, in the other hand, there is a government department, public department, And they want to start some contract for design and construction contract. Design and construction. So that means two parts. One is design, that is a consultancy part, design. And construction, it's an engineering, works, under works area. So there are two parts. One is consultancy and the other one is normal works procurement. All these two parts asking from one tender. And okay, some company, Deloitte, they used to come for a design. They prepare terms of reference, feasibility studies, project design, everything they get under design contract. Now, after that, after we get the whole document set, we go for another tender, another bid for construction part. So that Deloitte company can't participate for that tender. That is the conflict of interest because they know everything about. They are the people who prepare the specification, terms of reference, and design everything. So ultimately, they get some advance if they participate. Therefore, they can't participate in the second tender. That's a very simple example. But then somebody can say, so we are unfair with these Deloitte people. Yes. In that case, what you will have to do is all these document prepared by that company, consultancy company, you will have to give to all the other bidders, other consultancy firms in a bidding stage with the RFP, the bidding procurement document. You will have to give all that documents to other parties also. In that case, Deloitte can participate. That is how this conflict of interest scenarios in one area. The other one, providing downstream services. If a consultant or its affiliate are engaged to providing goods, that is also the same thing like earlier one, right? Provide goods, works, or services downstream of the consulting assignment. First consulting assignment, then downstream of the consulting assignment is providing goods, works, and services, or whatever it is. It's a conflict of interest if you are given to the same consultants. Especially if the consultant had a role in defining the specifications of term of reference. I told you all, toward preparation of specification, anything related to that procurement. And the other scenario is relationship or friendship with client or client staff. Actions to be taken for mitigate conflict of interest. I told you one incident, right? One area is that Deloitte example. You have to give all the other people. Fairness has to be there. That's right. Because of the conflict of interest, you lose fairness, right? But you to maintain the fairness, you will have to give all the documents to other people also. Then there is no conflict of interest. So what are the other actions? Mandatory disclosure forms. Government procurement manual for office involved. There, I mentioned that even in the 2024 when I was a commissioner at the National Procurement Commission, we prepared the guidelines. The same guidelines, I think they have published the second time also. Most of the things are same. So there we have put a separate section for this conflict of interest. And we say that all the, there's a format also. The people who are involved in the procurement process, they will have to give the conflict of interest declaration, as I told you all earlier. Disqualification if conflict is not resolvable. If you can't resolve that conflict of interest situation, then there is a disqualification. You can't take that firm, it's a disqualified. Client should include clear evaluation criteria in the requested proposals to assess the risk of conflicts of interest and ensure a level playing field. That means fairness, level playing field. It's a fairness. So clearly you will have to identify in the evaluation criteria, there is no conflict of risk. If there is any conflict of risk, you will have to resolve that problem. Otherwise, you will have to disqualify that firm, and then you will have to consider level playing field with the bidders. Contractual clauses. Contracts should include clauses that prevent consultants from engaging in activities that would lead to a conflict of interest during the year. You can understand that. You just read it. I am giving you all this presentation after this thing. I couldn't send it earlier, but I will send it to you as soon as I finish this. I will give it to OUSL people. They will put into their website. Unfair competitive advantage. So because of the conflict of interest, there can be an unfair competitive advantage. Unfair competitive advantage. Somebody will get that unfair, I mean the undue advantage. It's unfair. That is what we are going to explain. You can read and understand. An unfair competitive advantage arises when a consultant gains access to information. So that is one situation. If the consultant get the information, obtain the information from the procurement entity, you think the friend or a relative is there. These things are happening. Most of the procurement, mainly in Sri Lanka, these things are happening. Actually, those are for fraud and corruption. You can see, all these days we are talking about fraud and corruption. And sometimes people are doing very unnecessary things, and they will be in trouble, and there are so many things. So if they are trying to get some benefit out of, the friends are there, relatives are there, it's happening. Sometimes some companies, they will get the bidding document before they publish the tender legally. They will get the documents. So that is the thing that we are talking about, gain access to information. So they get an unfair advantage in that. This could be through prior involvement in the project's preparation, access to confidential planning documents. Yeah, in the project preparation, there are some confidential documents. They publish only on with the bid publication. Until then, it's a confidential document. Unfair competitive advantage determines the principle of fair and open competition. Yeah, that's right. It discourages other qualified consultants from bidding, can lead to inflated price, and may result in the selection of a consultant who is not actually the best fit, but merely the best informed due to improper actions. In that case, if they get the details, I mean, they get a undue advantage. In that case, they are sure that they can get more marks and get selected. In that case, they will inflate the prices also. Inflate the prices, and some of these things go in as a commission to that known person. Something like that. This reduces the effectiveness and value of the selection process. Yes. Whole value of the selection process is lost, or otherwise it will get reduced. Opportunities to get advantage. Yeah, that is correct. That's what I explain you all. Not available to other bidders, all the information. Right? So they get an unfair edge in the selection. The person who have the information. Hence, to ensure fairness and transparency, that all potential bidders receive the same information at the same time. That's what I say. During the pre-bid conference or any other step in the process, you can give all the details to all the people, all consultancy firms, not only one firm. Then you can reduce that type of unfairness. Client shall make available to all shortlisted consultants, together with the request for proposal, all information and make toe and key background in documents in public. You can understand, right? I told you all. They will have to give all the documents to others also. Mitigation measures, World Bank. World Bank, in their manual, they mentioned something like that. Disclosure of information. The borrower or a procurement entity, say, should make available to all shortlisted consultants, together with the request for proposals, RFP, all information that would, in that respect, give a consultant a competitive advantage. That's the World Bank version. That is what I was explaining. Or eligibility restriction. They say consultants who have been involved in the preparation of a project should be considered ineligible for subsequent assignments. I told you a conflict of interest. Subsequent assignments related to the same project. But there is a way of doing that. I explain you all. Unless the conflicts stemming from this relationship has been resolved in a manner acceptable to the bank. That is the World Bank version. Transparent evaluation criteria. Clearly defined and publicly disclosed evaluation criteria help prevent biases and ensure fairness to all consultants. So that's what we were talking. Association between consultants. There is another thing in the process of selection of consultants. Associations. You know what is the association? You associate with somebody. Now marriage, your marriage is an association. You associate with your spouse. I mean, simply say, it is something like that. You can understand clearly. So, but in this consultancy selection, we are talking about consult selection. In a procurement of other things also, you get this association, but we talk about mainly in selection of consultants. You get there are different names. Sometimes they straight away say association. Sometimes they say joint ventures. Joint ventures. You can get the meaning of that. Ventures. 2-3 ventures get together and join. So joint ventures, it's called JV, joint ventures. Or a sub-consultant arrangement. You can say Sub-consultant arrangement also association. Other forms of association. Other forms of association means that normally this type of countries, we say joint ventures, especially. But some other countries, they say consortium. Instead of joint venture, some European countries, they say consortium. That is also okay, no problem. But in Sri Lanka, Asian countries, normally we say joint ventures. If you say consortium, no problem. But normally say joint ventures, therefore, we can go for a JV, word of JV, or a sub-consultant arrangement. I will explain you how we are going to do that. Associations are often legitimate and necessary. Yeah, that is correct. Form of association is legitimate, that it's legally okay. But sometimes in the bidding document, some people say, some organizations says, joint venture agreements are not allowed. In the RFP, it's mentioned. You can clarify with the pre-bid conference. Yes, sometimes if the client think that they don't want to have a joint venture, they can say joint ventures are not allowed, or associations are not allowed. There are some reasons. I will explain you all why. Sometimes some reasons are there. But if they say joint venture agreement is allowed, that means it's legitimate and you can have a joint venture. You can associate with if you are a company, you can associate with another company. That's how it's explained. Associations are often legitimate, right? Okay. Especially for large or complex projects requiring diverse expertise. Some consultancy assignments are there, very complex in nature. Now, say the developed country, what do you call the traffic system, very complex traffic system. Before they have started the road construction and that type of thing, they will have to do a complete consultants designs and everything, complete consultancy assignment. There you get electrical part and the plumbing part and the painting part and the structural part. There are so many areas. You need diverse expertise. Experts, you can get it from all these areas. Environmental expert, the procurement expert, most of the consultancy assignment, they need procurement expert. The last week, some company asked me whether I can come. I said, okay, if I have a time. So like that, some they are asking for a different type of experts. But all these companies, they don't have all type of experts, they are employees. That you can't do it. I mean, these consultancy firms, they don't have say, for example, procurement expert, they don't have. But when they participate for a tender or a procurement or a selection of the company competition, the client is asking for a procurement specialist or a procurement expert with the qualifications, what they need, experience and the qualifications. So in that case, that company, that the consultancy firm, they will have to select somebody from the field. maybe when you are become a expert in procurement, maybe you or me or somebody knows about that procurement, this thing. If they fulfill the qualification, what client is asking, consultancy firm can select that person. Right. Associations are often right. Okay. That is because there can be diverse expertise in that procurement, in that selection. Say, maybe you can say in that procurement. Sometimes you can use that word. However, associations can also be used to limit competition. These are the bad area in joint venture. Joint venture limit the competition. The one thing. And in that case, is the collusion is very easy. Now, say, for example, there are 6 companies, consultancy companies in some area, say KMPG, MG, then the what you call Price Water House or somebody, I can't remember that name, Deloitte, and somebody else. There are some consultancy firms, for example. Those things say only 6 consultancy firms are there for some procurement. So they will have to come, all 6 people are coming for the competition. Then the competition is very high. But in case, if you say in the bidding document, joint venture allowed, joint ventures are allowed, in that case, say 3 companies get together, 2 or 3 companies get together. I'm telling you to explain here is easy. 3 companies join together, they establish one joint venture company. And other 3 companies also separately, they have another joint venture. So ultimately, only 2 parties are coming for the competition. Within that 2 parties can happen a collusion also. They can negotiate and they can increase the price. Right? Collaborations can happen. Therefore, it will harm the competition. Only 2 parties are there. In that case, there will be a damage for the integrity also. Collusion is a bad thing. We are talking about these fraudulent practices in consultancy. One is the collusion, right? So like that, it will go for a bad side also when you establish the this thing, what you call these joint ventures. Key points on associations between consultants. Joint ventures. Joint venture means 2 or more firms collaborate with JV agreement to submit a single proposal, right? Or the joint venture, they can give a only single proposal, sharing responsibilities and liabilities equally. The JV is evaluated as a single entity, so that we can evaluate as a single entity. Now, say, for example, there is a company called P and another company called Q. So P and Q get together and establish a joint venture. Then you can have a joint venture name also. It's not necessarily, right? You can have a joint venture, separate joint venture also for that purpose, that tender. You can say XYZ company. Name is joint venture. So that XYZ company, one company, that company can put a can submit a proposal, but only one proposal. Although there are 2-3 different companies, but if you have a joint venture, only single proposal can happen. Submit. If somebody else in the partner of a joint venture submit a proposal, then both proposals will get rejected. It is there mentioned in the RFP as a rule. Because you can't have that type of situations. You can see in the RFP or some other areas here, it will explain. They can have a association with a sub-consultant also. So then there are, if you get a sub-consultant to a, why you are getting the sub-consultants from outside? To enhance their capability. Because some areas, they don't have experts, I told you all. So they will take as a sub-consultant. That is also a type of association, sub-consultancy firm. But the main firm we call lead firm. Now say the main firm, they have we call lead firm. Other firm is a sub-consultancy firm. That is also you can have a JV. Lead firm bears a full responsibility for the service provided in that case. But earlier you can see that this one, responsibilities are liabilities equally sharing, equal sharing. There is no lead partner. But they are also, if they want, they can appoint a lead partner to do a payment approvals and that type of things. Actually, these things are not really strictly standard rules. Some are there. But sometimes, some entities, when they prepare RFPs for consultancy, they put some, they do some changes also. Sometimes purposely they do to make some fraudulent practices. Purposely they do in a procurement document. Or most of the time they are not aware about procurement subject. They used to go every day in the whatever the bidding document, procurement document used previously. I know in Sri Lanka, most of the public sector companies, always they use they copied the previous document. Maybe that previous document is about 20-25 years old. But the new people, they don't get any chance to prepare a new one. They do a copy and paste here and there, they do some changes. That's all. But correct procurement is not that. You can take from previous documents some areas if you want. Standard bidding documents are there, standard procurement documents are there. The World Bank and ADB, we also have standard procurement document. You can use those things and you can prepare a new document for your requirement rather than just copy and paste. Guidelines and restrictions. Voluntary formation. Client must not mandate that consultants form associations with specific firms. Now, you can't say, now say the health department, they can't say, you take that company as your joint venture partner. You can't specify like that. Public entities are not allowed to do that. It's completely prohibited. But sometimes this type of conditions you can put there. You try to get a local firm. Now, if it is all international firms are coming to this tender, you can ask those people to have a national firm also as your joint venture partner or a sub-consultancy. Joint venture partner is a little bit, it's more strengthened. But as a sub-consultancy firm, you can take a national firm. That is why we were trying to enhance our local capacity. That is why we are giving that chance to those tenders. Otherwise, international party will come and they use everything for their country. Now take these Chinese companies, China Harbor, China Construction, and all these people. Not only consultants, they use their laborers also. So that is not the way to do that. Chinese company, it's okay, but you can coming from China is not a bad thing. But the problem is they should not come. We should not allow them to come with the laborers and that type of people. Enough people are there in Sri Lanka. They can do that work. So why are you allowing them to bring their technician, laborers, and all these people from that country? Our country, our people's chances are getting less. That is why sometimes you call to take national firms as a sub-consultancy or joint venture partner, if it is possible. And some guidelines and restrictions we are talking, approval requirements. If a shortlisted firm wishes to associate with another firm, either as a JV or a sub-consultant, it must obtain prior approval from the client. Yes. In a RFP, the client might say JV is approved. You can have a JV. But for that, they will have to get the approval from the client. Just send a letter and get the approval because there are so many things involved. If it is a JV, you have a JV agreement and that type. There are so many things are involved. And the other thing is, as I told you all, single proposal submission. The joint venture, if there are two parties, they can't have separate, different submissions. Only one. Role and scope of work must be clearly defined. That is very important in any procurement or any selection methods. Evaluation consideration. Joint ventures evaluated collectively with combined qualifications and experience considered. Sometimes one company is having environmental, they have environmental experts. The other company, they don't have. Then the company who had that environmental experts, they put that person as an environmental consultant to the tender, to the process. Sub-consultants. The lead firm's qualifications are primarily evaluated while the sub-consultant's experience is considered to the extent it contributes to the assignments. Contractual applications, joint venture. All partners sign the contract and jointly and severally responsible or liable for the entire assignment. All partners has to sign. But in sub-consultancy things, only the lead partner can sign the tender. And is solely responsible for delivering the services. The responsibility is with the lead partner. If you have a sub-consultant as a joint venture. Now, only thing that all these things, now you will have to think in the both side. You are a client or a consultancy firm. Both, whether you are working as a client, you'll have to mention all these things in the RFP clearly, specs, to everything. And if you are a supplier, if you are a consultant participating for this tender, you will have to get some idea. So what are the areas that you will have to think, consider? Yeah.
So what is the joint venture and sub-consultancy? Main difference is that all partners can sign. What is that mean, sir? That usually contract is signed by the one party, no?
No.
Let's say that
No.
leader of the...
No. That is why I say now these things are happening different ways. Now, if your joint venture is with the lead partner and the other guy, in your joint venture agreement, you mention who is going to sign. The lead firm only. Then the other party won't sign it. Right? So the full responsibility is with the lead firm. But in a joint venture with the equal responsibilities are there, in that case, both parties should have signed agreement. There is no rule saying that only one has to sign. No. Both parties will have to sign. Both parties will have to sign the contract. Just a minute, 1 second.
Sir,
Hello.
Sure.
All right, Fasil. Both parties will have to sign the contract.
So now I have one contract currently, which is I'm working, that consultancy firm. It is a JV.
Yeah.
But they have lead consultancy firm who is responsible for that for as an engineer that he need to issue a determination. At that time, the lead engineering consultancy is issuing that determination. So which means, sir, that it is focusing one that lead consultancy
lead partner.
Lead partner. So so that which means, sir, is still that JV, but it is like a sub consultancy.
No. Lead firm. Now, it is all depend on the sub-consultancy arrangement. Now, the joint venture, say, there are, I told you all, A is a company, B is another company. It's all depend on those two companies' discussion and negotiations. They say, no, we don't want to have a lead partner. We both are responsible and both should be equal partners. I told you all somewhere here. Both have equal authorities. equal responsibilities. In that case, both will have to sign. Now, in that also, there is another scenario. That is, as I told you all, A company is there, B company is there, both parties get together and officially they establish a separate joint venture, maybe only for this tender. That is called C, company C. That joint venture name is C. So that joint venture, you will have to, both parties will have to discuss. You have who is the chairman of the C, who is the chief executive of the C, and who can sign the, what is the board of directors we have? I mean, large contracts, right? And who will have this authority to sign the contract, sign the documents. Like that, you will have to put into your internal joint venture agreement. That agreement you will have to give it to the client. Sub-consultancy is a different thing. That is, you can have a sub-consultancy. Also, you can associate. Now, you put it this way. You can associate with the sub-consultant. But that sub-consultant also partner of it. Actually, he is also having some responsibility. That responsibility, and I would say, for example, he is not doing his work properly. Then the client, sometimes the next tender, if somebody suggests, that's what I say, that you will have to inform the client. We are going to have a joint venture with these people, association with these people. So if that sub-consultant is not good enough to do the work, so then that client can say, no, you can't have a association with this sub-consultant because he has not performed his duties in our previous contract. Something like that they can say.
So it is like something like we have that contractor and subcontractor. Like that, I mean, later stage, consultancy firm, they can appoint as a sub-consultancy like that, sir. Not the initial stage. They are not disclosing that we have joint venture.
Yeah.
We are. I mean, one party he will enter to the tender and bid, and after that, once they got awarded, they can call for some sub-consultancy like that, isn't it? That sub-consultancy.
It's a very good question, right? I think I am discussing this thing in this lecture. Why I'm not sure whether there's another lecture. That is called, it's a sub-consultancy. You have a separate subject. The sub-consultants who are in this type of joint venture, I mean association, right? And name subcontractors. I think I have done for you. I don't know whether I can remember. I have done to you. Have you done the? I mean the.
Nominated subcontractor, something, sir.
Did I tell you all nominated subcontractor and normal subcontractors like that? Did I tell you all in one lecture?
I can't remember, but I know that nominated subcontractor, so I can't remember whether you taught or not, sir.
Anyway, maybe that I will be explaining in this lecture if it is there. Or otherwise, contract management lecture also I am explaining to you all. I'm doing that section. There are this subcontractor, we are talking about only the association subcontractors in a joint venture. This is what we are discussing here. That's all. Nominated subcontractors or nominated consultants are different from here. It won't come in this area. And there are some other sub-consultants also there. They don't mention at all. the client is not aware. Client, he doesn't want to get to know that who is those consultants. That is the main consultant's work. No need to mention even that he's a sub-consultant. But here you'll have to mention who is the sub-consultant in this association matter. Right. Anyway, you can ask me those questions later if you have any more problems. Right. Contractual implications, joint ventures. All partners sign the contract and are jointly and severally. So that is joint venture. That one, the first one we are talking here. Right. All parties should sign. Or otherwise, somebody can say, no, only you sign, but we have a separate joint venture agreement, consortium agreement. That is also possible. Or otherwise, you can have a separate company. Both parties get together. Both parties' names are not there, but separate name you can put into that tender. That company is responsible for all these things. Right. Then we'll come to the benefits. What are the benefits? As I told you all, diverse expertise. That is enhancing the quality of the service. Capacity building. Engaging local firm as sub-consultants. I told you all, sometimes you can put a request or you can put a rule also, if it is possible, right? You'll have to think about that. If there is no local firm, you can't say that you should have a local firm. It's all depend on the situation. Sub-consultant or JV partners can build local capacity if you have a local firms. By chance, if you can have a local firms, the local capacity will go up. They will get that knowledge. Risk management also there. Clear agreements describing roles, responsibilities, and liabilities are essential to manage risks effectively. Some risks are role confusion, poor coordination, or legal complication in accountability and payments. Fraud and corruption. There is another section, fraud and corruption. You know, I will tell you in Sinhalese also, if sometimes others can't understand. Vancha sa dushana kiyala api කියන එක. Fraud and corruption. Define categories. Now MDB, right? These development banks, multi-development banks, they have a harmonized definition for this fraud and corruption. Those days, even World Bank and the ADB or American Bank, they didn't have this type of definitions. But they have this at the moment. They have all people are having the same definitions. Corrupt practice: offering, giving, receiving, or soliciting anything of value to influence the action of a public official in the selection process or contract execution. Offering, giving money or presents or anything, a foreign trip or whatever it is. Fraudulent practices. Any act or omission, including misrepresentation that knowledgeably or recklessly misleads or attempts to mislead a party to obtain a financial or other benefit or to avoid an obligation. For example, falsifying qualifications, inflating cost, Those are we call fraudulent practices. Collusive practices. Agreement among bidders to manipulate outcomes. Price rigging, we call price rigging. That one we call collusive practice. Coercive, that is harming or threatening to other party to get undue influence. It's happening. These things are happening. So you'll have to avoid this situation. Obstructive practice. Actually, this is not a procurement or selection of this thing, but hiding or destroying evidence. When audit comes, you hide some important documents. If you have done some fraudulent practice or something like that, you can hide that file, or you can remove that paper document from the file or destroy. That is called obstructive practice. Okay. Other types of fraud and corruption in procurement. Those are the main things that which I was telling you. But there is other type of things also: bid rigging, kickbacks, right? False invoices. Then you get that type of things. Fraud and corruption considerations. Fraud and corruption are major risks in consultant selection and contracting. Everywhere fraud and corruption. So you'll have to be very careful. Fraud and corruption. The lead to the fraud and not only fraud and corruption. This can happen in, I don't know whether I told you all, in other, not under fraud and corruption, but now say that happen in the treasury, that Ranga, that boy, I mean, not the boy, that officer committed suicide, they say. So they are not sometimes it's not a fraud. Sometimes, I don't know. But mainly the carelessness. I am explaining to all my other diploma students and the university students the carelessness. Careless, they don't care. Now, the main thing that I used to tell my subordinates also, if someone prepare, normally in the office, the clerk will prepare, clerk or that level administrative person will prepare a primary document. What we do is, I told my colleagues also this one, what happened is that when the very honest officer, right? She or he will prepare the document and it will come to you. Normally in the public procurement, not even public procurement, private sector also, normally what they ask is that correct? You have gone through everything and you did it, no? Is that correct? You checked thoroughly, right? So then she will say, yes, sir. Then you sign it. Okay, everywhere it's happening. I told my colleagues, don't do that. In my case, as a practice, when I was doing this type of thing, so if I am doing something like that, what I do is I have now say for example, bid security document. When my secretary submit to me, I don't ask that question. Have you gone through all these things and is that correct? I don't ask. But I will, just to get the idea, I will ask her. You are the one who did that, right? You went through everything, okay? Right. But I don't just sign it. I have, if it is a bid security, I have there are about 4 or 5 points I have in my mind. If it's a performance bond, something else. If it's a terms of reference, something else. I have all these documents, I have some areas in my mind to check myself. Maybe I am the head of department. But I used to check those major things, right? Main things I will check. In that case, everybody will be safe in your job. So I followed a course in Manila when I was like you. When I was doing, I think it's a lesson of a MSc or some other exam, right? Nearly about 3 months I did fraud and corruption. They teach everything. Because of that, I used to tell, if I'm going to teach that area, I'm going to tell my students also how to do it. Now say, I will give you a very simple example, what people do. Now my email address is christyicta@gmail.com, right? But some hacker can do that. They can do Gmail without A or gmail-com or g.mail.com. Like that, they can have their email, the hacker's email. So that here in this case also, the central bank, the treasury also, what was happened is that, right? Not Gmail, the phishing. We call in IT, information technology, you know that. Social engineering or phishing. That type of thing can happen. They have done something like that in this case also. Bank, instead of BANK, they have put BAN or something like that. Or a full stop or something like that. Now, I studied in my courses to find out this fraud and corruption. What are the actions you have to take? It's a large subject. Now say, some companies put the dates as a January 15th, 2026. Some companies, as a practice, they will say, not January. I'll take another month. It's easy to explain. March 1st, 2026. They put March in letters, March 1st, 2026. Some people say 01.03.2026. That is in 2026, March 1st. And some companies say 03.01.2026. They change. That is normally the companies are having their own style. You will have to do when you are doing that, you should remember these things. What is the pattern they have used in previous correspondence documents? Now, if this the way of pattern is different, you will have to invest on that. You will have to see and check. You will have to keep in your mind those things. Right. Actually, our people, mainly everybody cannot study all these things. But main responsible people should have train. Every day you will have to do that. Don't think that you are an experienced guy. No. Every day you will have to study. You'll have to read, study. if you want to do, you can do the exams also. Then only your knowledge will go up to some standard. Then actually it will be very easy to do that. It will be very helpful for your job. Right. Lead to unqualified. They lead to the selection of unqualified consultants, CVs, or fake degrees in consultant proposals, inflated CVs, or fake degrees in consultant proposals. You can remember. The present government, the speaker, have given doctorate, but ultimately still we couldn't find out. So there are some fraud and corruption considerations. In that case, they will inflate the contract prices. Right. This erodes public trust, hinders development goals, and can have significant legal and financial consequences for all parties involved. Policies explicitly prohibit fraud and corruption at every stage of the consultant selection process. That you can go through that read, you can understand. Detection and prevention of fraud and corruption. This involves implementing systems, procedures, and oversight mechanisms designed to make it difficult to commit fraud and corruption and to identify it. Now, I will give you a very connected, very good experience. Now, this was happened in Treasury because that system, they have this emailing system and all these things. That system was, I heard it's about 7 years old. And the company who handled that thing, there can be some wrong things. Don't take it as all correct, what I say, because I'm also heard these details. So about 7 years old, those machines. But they had only 3 years warranty or something like that. The company informed, we are not doing services because the warranty period is over. You'll have to do something, but not this government. I mean, previous government also, they didn't do anything. Maybe 7 years or 9 years, I don't know. Right? So that is one problem they found. And the CERT, that's a place called CERT, right? The cyber security organization CERT, CERT. So they say, now they say, right? When they are doing these observations and other things, they say that we have instruments now, modified new instruments we have. We can find out any oversight. I mean, any problem the system can find out. If they have fixed that the present system, new, very latest system on that, they could have find out this. That is also one problem. I mean, not only the officer's problem, but officers also responsible, but that is also a problem there. All these factors contributed to this issue. That's why it says here, this involves implementing systems, procedures, and oversight mechanisms designed to make it difficult to commit fraud or corruption, and to, not only that, and to identify it. The CERT head told me they have they have a machinery now. They are going to introduce. They have introduced for some places. These type of because the CERT is the place that in Sri Lanka all these cyber attacks and hackers problems are finding and giving some authority. It was coming under ICTA previously, so I know I'm aware about all these things. So while prohibition is the foundation, active measures are essential to safeguard the integrity of the process. Prevention is always better than detection, but robust detection mechanisms are needed as a deterrent and to address issues when they arise. That's what I'm telling. I'm telling to all my students, whoever who studied these areas, right? Prevention is always better that you know than detection. Therefore, but robust detection mechanisms are needed as a deterrent and to address issues when they arise. Robust detection mechanisms are very important. Or we can say present advanced mechanisms or equipments. You need them. There are so many things now. AIs, they are very improved in that area. Common indicators of fraud. Repeated selection of the same firm. It's a fraud. Sometimes they select the same firm. Scoring that I mean, this is not, don't think that, no, it will not happen. You know that in Sri Lanka, identity card, I don't say there are frauds, but I'm just telling you all. The previously this charcoal coal tenders, gas, petrol, right? And the in Sri Lanka, the identity cards, printing of identity cards, printing of passports, printing of driving license, same company supplying to food items to army and forces, the same firm, same companies, again and again, they used to select. I don't know, maybe after doing a correct procurement, this thing that it can happen. Maybe. But people are having some suspicious thing because how these people give every day, they are the people who are selected for this procurement. So that problem is there. Scoring and deviates from evaluate consensus and documents with altered signatures or stamps. I told you earlier also. Detection mechanism. So these are the things I prepared this thing before it's happening in the treasury force. But you can go through that and see most of these things it covers. Prevention strategies. Training evaluators and staff. I always say train and train. Read and read. Segregation of duties and approval levels. Independent review panels for high value contracts. Due diligence and transparency. And there are new systems called Digital Fraud Detection and Prevention System, DFDPS. So those things are there in the world now. We will have to use or we will have to study. Officers should train officers should study these things. I mean, now you have come for MSc. How many things you are learning from here? I mean, that is how it should be. Every day the world is changing. Prevention policies. So these things I have given you all. You just go through that and read. You can understand. Misprocurement. Procurement that does not comply with agreed procedures and rules. This doesn't necessarily imply fraud and corruption, but indicates a significant deviation from the required process. Following established procedures ensures fairness, transparency, and consistency. Deviations can lead to challenges from unsuccessful bidders. Delayed projects. And if funded by an external agency, FFA, foreign funded agency, the refusal of that agency to finance the contract when the contract may fix as a misprocurement. Sometimes, if there is a problem in the procurement document or somewhere there, it can lead to so many problems. The people are putting the appeals and sending petitions, then they will go to the courts and stop everything. Most of the tenders are getting delayed because of these problems. If they have, or if you have in the proper bidding document, proper evaluation, all these things, document process, if you are doing in a very cleaner manner, in a very properly manner, then less problems. Very quickly you can start the contract or the project and you can finish it off. Normally, FFA policies, foreign funded agency policies are there. You can read out. Courses. Hiring a consultant without competitive process. Most of the problems are there. They don't go for the competitive process. Competitive process has to be there. As normally I say, competitiveness, and the competitiveness. Very important. As far as possible, don't go for direct contracting without competition. That is the number one fraud. Failing to advertise properly. Sometimes they go for a competitive bidding, but they don't advertise properly. So then there is no transparency. Biased or unjustified evaluation decision, maybe because of the conflict of interest. Deviation from the agreed procurement plan without prior approval. Engage in consultant. You go through that, you will have to find out all these things. Effectiveness and efficiency of the selection process. Effectiveness and efficiency of the selection process. Effectiveness refers to the process successfully achieving its objective. Selecting the most qualified consultant who can provide the best value for money. It is important that a selection process that is effective leads to successful project outcomes because the right consultant is hired. If you hire a right consultant, all these things will be all right. Efficiency refers to achieving this outcome in a timely and cost-effective manner. If you are efficient, without unnecessary delays. An efficient process saves time and resources that you know. Balancing effectiveness, getting the best result with efficiency, doing it quickly to achieve the target. Policies aim to streamline procedures. What are the policies? Clearly defining the scope and requirements. Should be very clear. When you prepare the document, whatever it is, terms of reference or a RFP or whatever it is, should be very clear. Using selection method appropriate, that is very important again. I think maybe the previous lecture, maybe you have covered type of procurement, type of selection. I saw that syllabus. I have not gone through your lecture, this thing. But maybe that you have done. Have you done quality QBS, QCBS, LCS, FBS? Have you done that in your previous, that basic type of consultancy methods, selection methods? Have you done?
Yes, sir, to some extent.
All right, okay. Maybe that you will learn more in future other lectures also. Sometimes maybe my lectures also, if it is there, you can learn. The selection method is very important. Most of the places, officers are not selecting a proper selection method. Mainly not only consultancy. In the PPP also, it's happening in this country. PPP means public-private participation projects. Public-private participation. I think that part I am doing most of the lectures that I will explain you all how to select a proper selection method. Here also, if you are doing a consultancy, you have to be very careful, select the correct method. You know, some organizations, they don't know how to, now, when you go to the QCBS, how to evaluate. What is the formula to be used? Therefore, they go for QBS. Sometimes, some organization, they do that. Without, I mean, they are due to their lack of knowledge, they don't go for other methods. Only one method they have gone on previously, they use the same thing. But you should not do that. Each and every consultancy process, you will have to select the correct method. Using standard procurement documents. That is very important. Standard procurement documents are there in Sri Lanka. I think still procurement commission, we were preparing, we also, when my time also, we have prepared these documents, manual and guidelines for selection of consultants. But still, they have modified the new commission also, they have modified, and they have now already finished their preparations, but not yet published. Right, goods and services. Not yet published. What I heard is that they are going to publish very soon. That is selection of consultant guidelines and manuals. Now at the moment, we are using 2007 documents. Very old. All means very,
So is
very
it
old.
by Ministry of Finance, right?
Sorry?
The manual that we are currently using is prepared by Ministry of Finance.
No. It was prepared by, you know that National, there was a establishment called National Procurement Agency. Not this commission, right? National Procurement Agency. They are the people who prepared those documents, consultancy documents. But in the where this finance ministry, public finance department also, sometimes they help it. I mean, it's a little bit confusion. Actually, these procurement matters, with regard to procurement matters, we are very weak, this country. But that should be the number one, not because of that. I am a procurement expert that I say. Because 70% of the project, I mean, budget goes to procurement. Nearly about 15 to 20% out of gross profit, product, this thing, it goes through procurement. Therefore, it is a very important subject. Everything, everywhere you do public procurement. 70%, nearly about 65, 70% procurement are going to the percent of budget are going through procurement. So you need all these guidelines and manuals should be very important documents. 2007 is the very old. Now, actually, in the history of these procurement documents, earlier it was going on FRA and ARA, those documents used. Later, it has gone to the finance ministry is the one who had that also, finance ministry. But in, I think in 2000 somewhere, there was a place called Procurement Supply Bureau, PSB in the ministry, finance ministry, separate section. They didn't do this, their guidelines and all these things. But sometime later, maybe about 2 or 3 years later, they have demolished that place. Then it has gone to the public finance department again. Then in 2003 or somewhere there, they have established separate section called National Procurement Agency. That's also that's also closed down in 2007 somewhere. But they did some the present guidelines and manuals. Later, they have closed down that part also. Then again, it has gone to the public finance department in the finance ministry. Then in 2015, the first time in the history, they have established National Procurement Commission. I was the procurement commissioner in that this thing, main commissioner in that commission. So they have given the 2 extensions for me to do that work. So I have worked about 6 years. Then again, they closed down that. Very unfortunate. So for about 1 year, they closed down National Procurement Commission. There's no National Procurement Commissions. Then it has gone back to again the Public Finance Department. Again, the next government come, they have started National Procurement Commission. So it will be end by 25th of May, that 3 years. I don't know after that what will happen. So it's a very bad practice. They could have no continuity. In Nepal, you just imagine, PMRO, that is called Public Monitoring and Reporting Organized Authority or something like that, office, PMRO in Nepal. Started in 1980. It's like a ministry, right? Still there, PMRO in Nepal. That is the authority level government organization in that country. India also same. In Sri Lanka, now I told you all, what is the history? I also can't remember. That so many changes. Right. Enhancing the skills of local consultants and institution through knowledge transfer, capacity building. These things you can go read through that. That is also, you can read and understand some important matters, right? Then we are coming to the next section, preparation of documents, expressions of interest, REOI, EOI, preparation of RFP and advertising. This part of the lecture is regarding consultancy document. What are the documents normally you are using in consultancy? I mean, you can't explain within this few, small duration, you can't do everything. But as far as possible, I will try to explain you all very important documents. First, we'll have to think about need assessment, right? Before we prepare the document set, what type of set of document we will have to use? All the type of procurements, QBS, QCBS, FBS, all these things are not used in the same document set. Document set is different. I am giving you the standard few areas, especially QCBS documents. That is the default method in consultancy. All before, we will have to think about need assessment. That go through, you can understand that. Client should give the attention for the following areas. If you are working in a company or a public sector ministry or a department, you are the client. You will have to give attention for the following areas, especially when you are doing the consultancy assignment. I understand there are gentlemen in your batch. They work in a public entities. They talk to me. They call me, some of you all. And sometimes they are asking me questions. I used to give my email address and telephone. You can ask any problem. When you are facing some problem, you can ask. What are the objectives of the consultancy? The scope of work, the expected deliverables, the desired timeline, and the expected outputs, such as feasibility study, training program, or technical design. Those are very important areas. When you are doing a consultancy, you should be aware about these things. I mean, most of these, my lecture notes, you can use if you are doing procurement or as a profession, you can use as a checklist also. Sometimes you will not miss some areas. But I have not put all these things, right? Must remember. And mainly, what are the outcomes? You'll have to keep in your mind. What is the outcome? Your project. Some are not aware about the outcome. They just they are just following the process. No, outcome has to be very important. Always you'll have to think, demarcate that one. Target always outcome. It's very important. Timeline and budget considerations. That is also important. Deliverables identification with outcomes. Deliverables also you'll have to keep in mind. Reports, design, final report, primary report, intermediate reports, then training materials, training, and the software, especially these days. Now, any subject you can't forget the digitization, digital activities. So mainly the software involved with that. So now it is something like pen and pencil. Software has to be there. Such a important area now. Expertise and qualifications. Determine the specific skills, experience, and qualifications required for the consultant team. Always must remember when you prepare a RFP to selection of consultant team is the important one. Maybe you have learned from somewhere in this lecture series, difference between goods, work, services, information system, and consultancy services. There, you go for a price and you go for the specs, quality, that type of thing. You give the marks in quality, I mean the specifications, price, that type of thing. But here in the consultancy, most important thing is consultant team. Maybe nearly about 65, 70 marks go through consultants' experience and consultants' knowledge. That is why people are the other consultant teams, when they have a consultancy assignment, they ask us whether can participate for this consultancy assignment. Because that they get, I think the some of the assignments, the procurement consultants experience and this thing, they get about 20 marks out of 100. Sometimes 10, 15, 20, 25. It's all depend on the work that they will have to do. Stakeholder, I mean, I'm sure some of you all be a procurement consultants in future. If you are going on that side, maybe you are doing some other work, not the procurement, supply chain management area. Maybe you are doing human rights. Or otherwise, sometimes you may do that administration. So that type of areas maybe you do. But if you are thinking to follow the procurement profession as a profession, it's a very good profession. You can earn enough money because highly paid area and also very interesting area. Right. Stakeholder consultation. Engage relevant stakeholders within the client organization to ensure the need assessment reflects various perspectives and priorities. As example, I have given in a World Bank funded education reform project, a consultant was hired without a clear needs assessment. Later, audit findings revealed the consultant duplicated existing ministry efforts, wasting $350,000. Some country World Bank, I think this is somewhere in Asian country, Philippines or Nepal. somewhere there. No, I can't remember. EOI and pre-proposal conference. That is the number one. Main area after need assessment, that is when you come to the documents, the initial document is REOI. That's the one you are going to publish in the paper. Request for expressions of interest. I mean, the problem is that still sometimes still the people are doing the wrong name for that. I saw in the today Daily News, today Sunday Times also, I think. They use expressions of interest, that advertisement. So I tried to change that several times, several seminars, workshops, and other places. I used to tell all the guys, don't use EOI. EOI is the document that the supplier, the consultancy firm, sending to the client, that main document called EOI. But if you are advertising your consultancy tender, you will have to mention the name is REOI, not the EOI. Request for expressions of interest, not the expressions of interest. Expressions of interest are sent in by the procurement I mean the suppliers. They send EOI. We advertise REOI. Request for expressions of interest. Most of the time, daily FT, you can see those advertisements. Yeah, I can't find. It will take some time. Request for expressions of interest. That is the thing that the entity client put as advertisement. Its name is REOI. After giving the REOI, normally 14 days in the paper, then consultancy firms, consultants, normally we say consultants. I told you all. In this REOI, you will have to include these important areas. One is background of the assignment. What is your consultancy? What is you are going to advertise for this? What consultancy? What is the background of the assignment? Then you will have to give objectives and scope of work. Scope of work, tasks to be carried out. And what is the objectives? And the shortlisting criteria. First, you send the REOI in the papers. Wherever I want to explain, it will take some time. Some areas you can go through, you can read, and you can understand. Now, I explain these things properly because these are very important. After you advertise REOI, the process is the consult, you give 14 days normally. Then the consultancy firms are sending you their EOI, expressions of interest. So after that, you shortlist them because maybe you are getting about, say, 40 Consultancy firms, some countries 40, 50. Consultancy firms apply for the consultancy work, consultancy advertisement. Then you can't, then it's okay. Then you will have to shortlist the best people, maybe about 6. Around 6. But definitely should be more than 3, right? The good one is 6 or 8 or somewhere around there. Select the best. I will take 6. Select the best 6 firms and shortlist them. Those are the shortlisted firms. In a short REOI advertisement, you should clearly state the criteria for shortlisting, including the required qualifications and experience. That means the technical experience, similar experience for the project. But no need to ask for a CV, consultant's CV. But now some companies, they ask CVs also. Never mind, it's okay. I will see whether I have put some advertisement here. I have given here one real advertisement. I think maybe when I was there. Yes. Yeah, I was there that time. Yeah. The advertisement. There you can say, first, as I told you, you can't see, maybe it's very difficult to read, but when you get the document, you can, I think, so the first para, it says, now what is now see, Sri Lanka Development Project. Request for expressions of interest. I think now it's, this is 2011 advertisement, right? So that is about how many years? 15 years back. But from that time, I am using the correct name. Oh, wait a minute. Oh. Yeah, correct name. Request for expressions of interest. By mistake, I have not put R here. Maybe I have put later. So the consultancy assignment is, very carefully listen that. I told you all. If important thing, I will explain you. The assignment name is Development of Software for the E-Local Government Project, ELG project. So my practice was to put the number is, there is a thing, ICTA consultancy, CON, that is the procurement type, selection of consultant. GOSL, that is GOSL funding, not the World Bank funding or something. If it is World Bank funding, I will put WB. QCBS is the type of method. And how many, what is the number of consultants? 123. We have already done about 122. Now this is the 123. I don't say that you also will have to use the same type of number. But some people, if they don't have much consultancy, some department put the year also here. But I feel no need to put year, because here you can find out end of the thing, you get the year of advertisement. The information, that this is the background, right? I told you all. Information and Communication Technology Agency of Sri Lanka is the implementing agency for East Sri Lanka Development Project. Like that, I will give the background first. Then we are coming to the objectives part. Recently, the re-engineering program has identified blah, blah, blah. You get something like that up to this point. Yeah. ICTA now invites expressions of interest from eligible software development service providers, firms, to take up the implementation of the solution. Interested consulting firms must provide information indicating that they are qualified to perform the services. So they will have to mention core business and years in business, qualifications in the field of the assignment, appropriate skill and expertise, technical and managerial organization of the firm, general qualifications and number of key staff, previous experience in similar conditions. So that is the experience part asking. Actually, in my case, I am the one who start with this EUI. Now you can see in the papers, most of the people, they don't put. I have introduced a EUI information form. This experience you can't ask from the paper advertisement, inside the paper advertisement. In that case, paper advertisement will go for a 1 page or a half a page. It's very expensive. Therefore, I have introduced EOI information form for that. Some people, some organizations, now they use this format, and they also ask for the EOI information form. But others still, they put this advertisement only. Right. The scope, you better, if you are doing that, you better introduce that. The scope of service and EOI information form documents are now available at ICTA for further information about the project. All information requested in the EOI information form should also be provided by the software development service providers. And interested parties may download the scope of services and EOI information form from Procurement ICTA website. I am not advertised those things. Scope of service and the EOI information form. Everyone, I saw that scope of service, they put in their website, but not the EOI information form. It's very easy. Experience, consultant experience, everything you'll have to put in that form. Very easy for the suppliers firm. Very easy for our evaluation. Right. Software development services provider will be selected in accordance with the procedures set out in the GOSL guidelines, selection and employment of consultants. All interested parties are informed that all documents should be issued in English language. Now, this is a GOSL funds. I told you from the beginning. Therefore, you can use the GOSL guidelines, selection and employment of consultants. Actually, it should be 2007. If it is a World Bank, you will have to put it here, World Bank guideline 2021, or something like that. If it is ADB, you will have to put the ADB. interested eligible software development service providers, companies, firms, may obtain further information from Mr. Christy Perera, Procurement Advisor, ICTA, by contacting via this, and this also I have introduced that. That is, there is a reason not to put my name in the advertisement. There is a reason. Most of the time I found people, now some people say education department Setsiripaya, something like that address. The people used to go there. I got these complaints when I was a commissioner at National Procurement Commission. When they go the time, they try to find out from whom I can find out the details. Now you are very well aware. You are also doing some work. When you put into when you call for a bank, you have a number, bank number. If you don't know the current account section, if you call they say, wait a minute. And they will keep about 10 minutes. Call, what about same? 10 minutes, they will put into another number. When you give all the details, he says, wait a minute, I'll put you to the number. They will give another number. I don't know. Maybe about 1 hour will take some organizations to get some information. That is why I used to put a responsible person. I don't care how many calls I am getting. I'm the head of that unit. But I have given my direct this number, fax number, all direct, not the ICTA common number. Because people wants to find out, there's a reason. I will explain you. Those are the things you also find out. You will also do some new thing, innovative ideas, find out. An email to procurement, blah, blah, that is okay. Because you give a reason, the suitable person to find out. Now here, somebody wants to find out something, they will call me. I will straight away give the answer. If I'm not in the seat, my secretary will take a phone and she will say that so-and-so is not in the seat. You give a call another 30 minutes time. Or you tell me if I can answer, I will give you the answer. So something like that. Expressions of interest including all requested information must be delivered no later than blah, blah. Either electronically to procurement, this one, and hand delivered by post. That should post to the following address. Again, Christopher, Procurement Advisor, care of Chief Executive Officer, ICTA Agency of second floor, 160 upon 24 kilometers. Yeah. I have given the floor number also. Because there are so many 7 floors. If you give the address only, people can't find out the floor. They are not only floor, they'll have to give the room number also. In ICTA, you don't have room numbers. There is no rooms. That's a modern style workplace. There is no rooms for even chairman, there is no room. CEO chairman, right? All are in the workstation. Please mark clearly on the envelope, right? Blah, 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 this one. Yeah. Chairman address is there. There was a professor called P.W.A. Pasinger. You have heard that gentleman, very senior, very vice chancellor like professor. He was one of my teacher, statistics master, not the lecturer. So like that, I should be very clearly mention everything. Right, we'll go to the next one here. I told you all objective, outcomes. Outcomes we are given in that advertisement, everything. Expertise, stakeholder, right? UI and pre-proposal conference, right? RUI after, okay. Then UI submission instruction and UI deadline. These things you can go through that. Here, associate to enhance their qualifications, JV. The other one, clarify their selection method. I told you, very important. Whether it's QCBS or CQS or FBS. Clarify what is it in the document. There, I have given in the RUI, whether it's a QCBS or CQS or FBS. RUI shall advertise 14 days, 14 calendar days for national competition and 21 calendar days for international competition to submit the IUI to provide consultancy services. Actually, I would like to change these calendar days. It should put, if I put working days, it's ideal. Because in Sri Lanka, you get about 180 holidays. But internationally, the other countries are not like that. World Bank, ADB, all these things are going on global standards. So that is 14 calendar days and the 21 calendar days is the global standard. That's why I put here. Otherwise, I will put working days. But if it is a local one, I used to put working days. It's not in the guideline or anything. But it covers 14 calendar days, but I give working days. Sometimes 14 calendar days will be 18 working days. Calendar days, you get only 4 working days. So how are you going to put, because all the offices are closed. New Year, Christmas days, Christmas holidays. My God, how many holidays in Sri Lanka? Right. The late submission of prospects, right, not cost, right? Like that, I have given some details about RUI. This is the MDB, Multi-Development Bank's standard harmonized World Bank, American Bank, and the ADB everywhere, right? So I have given some details about RUI. That one we explain. Pre-proposal conference. So after that, we are sending the RFP to shortlisted people. I told you all from that advertisement, shortlist about 6 people, not standard, right? 6 people. Then you call the pre-proposal conference for that 6 people. Otherwise, you'll have to call all 40 people. And you will have to send the RFP for all 40 people. So you are selecting only one guy. Out of that 40 people, you will have to do 40 evaluations. Unnecessarily, those people, the 39 people, also send in their proposals without getting any results, positive results. So that is why we have limited that shortlisting. We have put this shortlisting. I think you can remember when we are talking about goods, works, and construction. We don't, most of the thing we don't do shortlisting, but here we do shortlisting. Other PPP also sometimes we do shortlisting because unnecessary problem for the people also. Only qualified 6 people is more than enough. Then you get a pre-proposal conference you have, or otherwise some people say pre-bid meeting. It's okay, any word. There you should have a pre-bid meeting or pre-proposal conference. It's a must. It's not in the guideline, but I say it's a mandatory requirement. It's very important, not for the small tenders. Others, mandatory requirement. But I know Now also some government departments, very big tenders, they don't have a pre-bid meeting. I have seen for 6 years as a commissioner of the National Procurement Commission. Most of the people used to come as a complaint. So, Betana, there is no pre-bid. When they ask something to clear out, I asked them why you didn't have a bid conference there. No, sir, there is no pre-bid conference. They didn't have it. We have sent some letters, we didn't answer also. But you should not do that type of mistakes. Pre-proposal conference, I have given here. You can go through that. So then the other important document is preparation of terms of reference. You know terms of reference, TOE. The meaning you know, but here little bit different. That I have given all the areas. What are the areas should be put it into the terms of reference? Background information, the review of previous work on that ICT, if they have done the software, that type of some assignments, you will have put that reviews also. Concise statement of
Sir, that pre-bid conference, what
Hmm.
time is suitable time? It is just before the submission or like a pre-bid query after we ask for pre-bid query, that once it is freezing at that time, what time is best?
The best time is now say you are sending the you take from the advertisement, right? RFP you are sending to those 6 people. No, there is no advertisement. After you send in the RFP, give about 5 days. Maybe for a total you are giving more than 21 days to supply, to give the RFP, filled RFP. Give about 5 days or 6 days, depending on the size of the document. Then the time also more. If you are giving if it is a 42 days or 60 days timing, that means it's a very large document. The suppliers will have to go through all these things. It will take some time. You give about 10 working days. But normally, within first 5 days, if you feel that they can read the document and get the idea, get the idea means they will have to find out what are the questions they will have to clear out in a pre-bid meeting. First few days, just after 5 days, you have a pre-bid meeting. That, as you said, just before the closing date, please don't do that. It's a fraudulent practice. You can go to the jail. Sometime I can remember for this identity card matter, they have given the they have done the pre-bid meeting just before, just 5 days before the closing date, right? So there was so many questions they asked, but they couldn't give. They have given the answers only just before the tender closing date. But the problem is they are asking to change the ISO numbers and so many factors. They will have to get all the details from the foreign companies, right? So they couldn't do anything. They came to the commission immediately. So I asked them to give another 14 days. So they have given the 14 days because no time for the supplies. That's a fraudulent practice. Maybe the biased man, the friendly man, they have given all the details to him. But for other 5 people, they are sending the document only just before the closing date. They couldn't do anything. They didn't reply. They didn't come to the that tend that time because of that problem. It's a very good question you have raised. A concise statement of objectives, scope of work needed, what are the tasks to be carried out, schedule for completion, then data and reports available, inputs provided by the client. So that means that I will explain you. It is there in the slides, but I will explain you. Inputs provided by the client means the procurement entity will have to give the office space, computers, sometimes vehicle for a international party. You'll have to give. Otherwise, for all these things, they will have to come and select some and rent out the vehicle, everything. The people are giving a high prices. Office building, those are very difficult things. Therefore, you try to give your office area for them. So then, main consideration. So you can go through that and you can read. Draft in a terms of reference. That is also that I have given some advices are there. You do that also. The TOE should clearly define the output and deliverables reports. Yeah, you can read, understand. Areas covered by the terms of reference. Again, that part I am giving you. That output, you know that client's input, I told you all. Previous reports, information, access, data, local services, transport, personal and office facilities to be provided by the borrower. That is called client inputs. All these things should be put into the document. Then they give a price, good price. Transfer of knowledge, training, if applicable. Give details. I can remember RDA, not RDA, IRD. Income tax department. There we have introduced the RAMIS first time, maybe about 10-15 years back. I was the procurement advisor for them. There people wants to, the secretary wants to do a training. We are also suggesting to give a training. Some Indian PwC people came for they have selected and they also suggested, I also suggested to give a training to people. So nearly about 300 officers and others, we send it for outside training. Some to India, some to Singapore. So that you'll have to put into the, you'll have to give all the details in the RFP. That is very important. Difference between TOE and DOS. Now, you can go through that, right? Terms of reference is the document attached in the RFP and send in there what to do, right? After getting the details, now you are selecting a consultant. So negotiate with the consultant, discuss with the consultant, right? These are the things that you'll have to do in the TOE. Now, what are the changes you want to do? You can't reduce all these things, right? Then other people might send they might go to the courts. But you negotiate what are the changes that we will have to do. As a procurement expert, you know what are the things you can discuss and what are the things you should not discuss and you should not change. So after that, when we prepare the contract with the supplier, selected supplier, we attach that TOE, but we don't name it as a TOE. TOE is the previous one. Now there is no TOE, right? We have select the person. We discuss all the matters in the TOE and prepare another document. It's called DOS. That is called Description of Services. I have mentioned here, and it will be included into the final contract instead of TOE. Preparation of loan list. That is a simple thing that mainly the World Bank and the ADB is asking. Now the people who are sending all the application, I said 40 people send the application, that is the loan list. From there you get the short list. Preparation of short list. I told you all 6. Here I mentioned 5 to 8. That's a good number. Instruction to consultant. So what are the things inside you get? That document. First you get the letter of invitation. Second you get the ITC, instruction to consultants, and also data sheet. What are the things they are included? It's very easy to understand. DS means data sheet. Now, when it comes to the document, what's the time? 29:20. Wait a minute. I'll show you the document. I don't know whether you can see that document, but I will just tell you all. I'll just put it to you all. This is right. This is the selection of consultants, World Bank document. This is the one. Selection of consultants, standard procurement document. There in the first page, you get letter of invitation. That is the letter we are sending to the shortlisted people. Who shortlisted is also mentioned there. No, you can't see. Then it comes to the section 2, instruction to consultants. Section 2. This is the one I was talking. Other things you can't show it to you all. It takes some time. So like that, you get the data sheet. These are the sections in this document. Then you get, wait a minute. Then you get the data sheet. We have explained all these things. You go through that. Normally the evaluation weights, normally we give QCBS, we give 80 marks to the technical side. That is the consultants, the experience and all these things. For a financial one, QCBS, we give about 20%. Standard forms for technical proposals, the forms are there. So many forms are there. You can see something like that. So many forms are there. Technical forms and the financial forms, both are there. Common mistake. What is the common mistake? I put it here. Proposal fails due to generic methodology or overqualified but unavailable team members. What is that? Proposals fail due to generic methodology. Yes. Or overqualified but unavailable team members. They say some generic matters and the qualifications also. But when you go through that, you can see team members, actually, they don't have that type of experience. Financial proposals, what are things it should include? You can put cost breakdown, remuneration, travel and per diem, overheads, contingency, because most of them are consultants, no? Working consultants are there, no? Contract forms. Contract forms also there in the document. You get the GCC and SCC. GCC is the general conditions of contract. SCC is special conditions of contract, key areas covered. These are the areas covered in a contract. You don't miss if you have as a checklist. General conditions of contract. Now the thing is, general conditions of contract, you can't change. You owe supply, nobody can change it. You'll have to keep as it is. But if you want to change something, you can change that one in a SCC, special conditions of contract. That I will try to show you those numbers. Here. Now, this is the thing, something like that. No, I can't. I don't. Oh, I don't, yeah, you can see. Yeah, but I'll tell you all. Now, you get in the GCC 3.5. They are talking about some action in a GCC 3.5. But GCC, you will have to do some changes for that. But there you can't do it. But under SCC, special conditions of contract, there you can put something like that, 3.5 C, that you can refer the GCC number, and whatever the things that you can write, you can change it here, you can write it here. So that means GCC, you can't do any changes, but relevant GCC number you can mention in the SCC and you can do some changes. But in GCC, if they don't allow you to do the changes, that also you can't do. And also, must remember, in a GCC thing, if you want, you can put some additional things also after this. Some additional conditions. Especially, I had to do that about 15-20 years back. Because that is the time that software license escrow, escrow contracts, software license, and that type of things came at that time. So I had to put special conditions one by one. IP rights at that, in this book, there is no place to put IP rights. So I have put all these new things under SCC at that time. But now when the World Bank changed these things, they have put all these, most of these things, the new things also, but artificial intelligence, AI, that part is not there. I wrote to ADB, World Bank and the ADB. When they prepare the new one, you put these things. I mean that you can suggest anything. If it is correct, they will do it. Now, for example, goods, this thing, information systems, there was at that some time back, there was no single stage two envelope method. But I fought with the World Bank. I said, no, we must have. But World Bank didn't agree with me. But I get a chance to prepare a ADB new, the first information system standard document, first one, with that Ramis tender. So I did that. They accept it. So after about 10 years later, World Bank also introduced that single stage two envelope method. That was I did for the ADB about 10 years back, but World Bank didn't agree with that. We agree with me at that time, but they did the same thing after 10 years, 10, 15 years later. Right. Now, special conditions of contract. I told you all, tailored to the specific assignment, these condition modifications supplement the general conditions to address project requirements. according to the project requirements. That general condition part, GCC part, they say you change, if you want, you change in SCC. Then you will have to change it according to your requirement. Then, customize the GCC in SCC, as I told you all. Then another one is forms of contract, various type of forms that you can go to my slides and you can learn that. Contract types. I think contract types, sometimes you will be doing some other areas also. One is the very famous default one is lump sum contract. That means consultancy assignment, you pay. You agree with them to pay lump sum. When they give the first report, you pay 10% or 15%. And end of the day, you pay all balance, something like that. Lump sum. The other one is time-based. You can't decide lump sum how much it's not. You can't prepare a correct target and the correct how many days it will take. You can't decide on that. Pre-decisions are very difficult. Some consultancy assignment, those things you give this time-based contract. Depending on the daily payment or something like that. Date-based contract, or you can say time-based contract. And a framework, indefinite delivery contract. There are some that is called framework agreement. You just read up. Framework agreement is not there in your syllabus, but I told your university staff at least include into you the third intake this framework agreement, very important area. But they say that they have already done that syllabus and everything. They have put that into the print and they can't include. But sometimes next year they will include that FA. I have given what are the things that they will have to inform, the write-up document I prepared and send it to them. Then another type of things, retainer and contingency contract. Go through that and read. That's all. So now you just write down this my email address and the telephone number. Now, when you get this thing, you can see it. christyicta@gmail.com. My telephone number is not 777-572-381. I have keep some time for you all to ask questions. You can ask any question with regard to the subject. Some the people who are really involved with the contract, I think they learn a lot. Not only that, they get a lot of questions also. That is the normal thing. That's how it should be. But there's two participants who did not do this area of subject. You'll have to do a lot of work to study that. Now at the moment, I don't think that you can ask questions because difficult to be. Still, you have not understood 100%. You'll have to go through that these slides and see. But the people who familiar with the procurement, you can ask. The others also can ask. I'm just telling you all. Ask any question. You can ask any clarifications, questions, information, anything. If you ask any question, I can explain you about 15 minutes, nearly about 15 minutes. Yeah.
So can you explain that framework agreement? That one little. What is that one?
Framework agreement. Framework, yeah, very, I mean, very.
Simply, you can say
Yeah,
sir,
yeah,
that
yeah,
what is.
yeah. Now you want to now say, for example, generic item. If you want to buy a generic item, for example, government want to buy about 50,000 ballpoint pens, right? To government officers, 50,000 or 50 million. No, not 50 million. Say 5 million ballpoint pen or 50 million Panadol, paracetamol, this into the health department, something like that. If they want it, they can use this framework agreement type. It's a procurement arrangement. It's a very famous, very popular, and very, I mean, very recently only they have introduced in the world. So that is first they put an advertisement and register. It is something like that, but it's a little bit not modification. I have done when I was a procurement consultant to the president. I did for a COVID time. I did for a army, navy, and the police. All these prison, everybody's meals to buy meals at that time. I used to put that because you can remember that the prices have gone up. It's a long history. I'm not going to explain you all. So the framework agreement is that you put advertise beginning of the year to register, something like registration. It's not register. It's called to get the partners for this framework agreement. Framework agreement partners. We call framework partners. So you select, like shortlisting, you select about most qualified 3 or 4 people. You keep it there. That's all. You sign the agreement with those people, say 5 people, 5 companies, framework agreement. That is called framework agreement. You sign the contract with them. Not really a contract, it's an agreement. You sign them, you have selected them, blah, blah, blah. The details are there. But you don't, if they want, they can give the prices also, but you are not asking the prices. But you are qualified. That company is qualified. You give them and keep it. You don't say that you are trying to give a 50,000 ballpoint pen tender. No. You give a time period, maybe for about 3 years. Now, I did in Sri Lanka, I think I'm the one first who did that COVID time. Otherwise, you can give. I suggest all the people to put only 1 year initially in Sri Lanka. It's not, I mean, practically they are not familiar with that. But 2-3 years you can have a real, to get a real benefit, you must have a 2-3 years at least agreement. That is called concession period. You can say concession period or no, not the concession period. Framework duration, you can say 2 years or 3 years. Within that period, if you want to buy, say first, March, you want to buy 5 million out of 50 million ballpoint pen, you want to buy 3 million uh, pens to Jaffna, 2 million to Candy, 5 million to Colombo, something like that, March or February or something. So then you call, immediately send a email. There is no document, nothing, right? Send a email and ask for the price and whether you can supply to this place. So they will send you the prices, right? That price selection, there are methods. One is called mini competition. Other one called rotation type. Other one called distance type. There are about 6 methods to select the guy. That contract is called, that's a final contract, call of contract. Call of contract. That contract. Only thing you send an email, get the price following day. You select the person. Selection methods are there, about 6 methods. Select the supplier and sign the contract. That contract call of contract. Only 2 days or 2 or 3 days time you can finish it off and send the purchase order also. Very quick. Within 3 days you can finish it off. Lot of developed countries that they have started it. In Sri Lanka also, I have advised to the that time all these Air Force, Army, all people came to the president, and president asked me to prepare a new system. So I have given them who Kamal Gunratne, Secretary to the Defense came. So I gave them some short-term and long-term plan. Long-term plan is framework agreement. That method I told them to do it. They have done it.
So at that time, can they ask for negotiation? Negotiation?
No, call of contract time.
Yeah.
Not the framework agreement. No.
No, not the framework.
Huh?
Not the framework agreement time, sir. That call of time, can we ask for negotiation? That
No. Price
No.
negotiations, no. Because the pricing, I told you all, evaluation, there are some methods. The easiest method is mini competition. Mini competition is you are asking all 6 people, I need 5,000 pence, 5 million pence to Jaffna. What is the price? You ask all that framework partners, only 5, huh? Already registered. You ask prices.
Sir, the person who is receiving the email, he can see the price, no? I mean,
Yes,
it can be shared with that other party. Maybe they can they might have some what is called it is not transparency, isn't it, sir?
You see that no, that is you will have to do under security email. Now, normally, head of the department of the procurement is the one. Or otherwise, there are some system to you ask them to put into the no. I mean the secure email is secure. If I am the head of procurement, I will ask them to send it to my email. I am open the email. The secure email means there are some methods, so many methods now. I have a key password. Another chief accountant is having a password. And if you want another chief executive officer is having a password, all 3 people will fix the time, okay, 3 p.m., get together, and we'll put all our password in the system, 3 people, then open it. You understand?
Yeah, sir. Yeah.
Call of contracts, you ask them to send in a secure email that you keep some password with the few people and open it. There's no, those are things, I mean, those are things they are inside in the total framework agreement. It's a separate area, separate subject. Okay, what are the other, I mean that new procurement guidelines, I have mentioned in my guideline, but not I have not given the method because it's a separate booklet I have to prepare. You can see my guidelines, it's there, our guidelines, it's there. We say that we will prepare a separate framework agreement. I think this new guidelines also, they have mentioned that, if I am correct. They have not given any.
I think.
Huh?
Framework agreement, it was there in that guidelines, no?
It was there.
Yes.
Not the guidelines. You said it wasn't.
Manual guidelines, I can remember something. It was there.
I think it was in the manual, I think.
It was in the manual, right? Yeah. so that if it is in the guideline and manual, you can use.
They mention it's under DC, direct consulting. Also, they mention
What D? What do you say?
a direct consulting method.
Direct consulting? No, direct consulting. There is no involvement in the framework.
Framework
That is
agreement.
direct contracting.
Okay. Okay. Sir.
Direct contracting, no. Direct contracting means only one person, no? Framework agreement is few people.
Yes, sir.
Huh?
No, sir. The manual says no. The commission is going to prepare guidelines for each and every method in future and for use in for the public sector. Like that, they put that note in
Yeah,
manual.
that's exactly. I think I my doc. Yes, sir. Yeah, in my this guideline, right? This is that I prepared when I was in the commission. This guideline, you can see
5.2, sir.
chapter 12.
5.25.
Chapter 12 in guideline. You can see chapter 12. Page number 5, Roman 5. Chapter 12, framework agreement. There, I will see what are the things that I have put. Yeah, only one page. Yeah, framework agreement. Yeah. I think maybe that, yeah, you can see framework agreement. Only
It is listed also, sir. Types of contracts and contracting agreements, arrangements. In that, under that 5.24.
That is new,
it is saying
the 2000,
new guidelines. 24 new guidelines.
New guidelines, yeah. In my one, I have prepared that 2 pages I wrote in the guidelines. Record, you can read, you can get some understanding, knowledge. And I have put a note here saying, I'm just showing you, then it's easy for you to see. Oh, no, right. Can't see. It's there. Note. NPC will issue an operational manual with the concurrence of the relevant institutions, enabling adopting of the provisions of the chapter. This chapter explaining the full manual. That's what is mentioned in chapter 12. I think new one they have not put new. I don't have time. If you want, I can. You give me a call, then I will explain you all.
The new guideline put 3 years we can use the framework agreement.
3. They have given the time in 3 years, isn't it?
Yes, a 3-year period. We have same goods of consultancy service frequently. That wise we now also use the hospital like some consultancy service we use.
Yeah, that's right. That's whatever the document, it's okay. It's a very famous one. You get in the World Bank and the very large. There was I have a UNICEF one. Everywhere you get that framework agreement. Very frequently ordered items. Frequently ordered items. The people are every day they are intending this purchasing that item, and a very generic item. But for complex items, you can't do that. I mean, generic items, generic buildings, those things you can do. And a very frequent item. Nitarama you want. I mean, it's very, no need to prepare a bidding document. All 3 years, you can just send a mail and get the price and do it. That's all. Very easy method, very simple method. Cost effective is zero. No cost at all. Otherwise, you can see every day you will have to put the advertisement. Now, if it is 3 years, only one advertisement for all 3 years, any item. So that it is very important. That's why I want to include into your MSc program as a subject. But they didn't have a time because they are also having a lot of work. No, I mean that people, therefore they couldn't. But I must try. I will try again for at least the fourth batch to include that. What else? But if you want any further details regarding framework agreement or whatever it is, document related matter, you give me a call. When I have a free time, I will, I will get a free time and I will call you when you want to get any information or any clarification or any advice. Are you okay?
Oh,
Yes,
Are you
sir.
okay? Okay.
yes.
Okay. Then good night.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Good
Okay.
night,
Thank
sir.
you so
Thank
much,
you.
sir. Good night.
Good night. Good night.
Okay, sir. Good night. Thank you.
Good night. Good night, lady.
Thank you, sir. Good night.
Good night.